Stop scrolling. You're about to step into a world that shouldn't have disappeared. A world where weekends felt sacred, and where one tiny sound on a quiet British street could change the whole atmosphere of a family's life. But here's the twist. Behind the cozy memories and charming routines lies a story nobody tells. Why did those simple rituals feel richer than anything we have today? And what exactly happened to the traditions that once held entire communities together, and then vanished almost overnight? You're about to hear things that might shock you, warm your heart, and maybe even make you question the way we live now. From secrets hiding behind ordinary mornings to forgotten weekend customs that modern life accidentally erased, this journey will reveal details that rarely make it into history books. So, don't go anywhere. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why those old weekends still haunt people's memories and what unexpected truth lies behind their magic. Here is a smooth, natural English version of the script, adapted specifically for narration. The phrasing is clear, rhythmic, and easy for a voiceover to deliver, while keeping the meaning and atmosphere of the original. Saturday mornings in 1950s, Britain began before anyone was fully awake. A gentle clink of glass on the doorstep signaled the start of the weekend. The milkman, known by name to every family, arrived at the same moment each week, moving quietly down the street as if he were part of the morning itself. He set the bottles carefully so they wouldn't wobble in the breeze and continued on his route, leaving a faint trail of cool air behind him. Children rushed to the door the moment they heard him, eager to grab the chilled bottles and lift the little cap to taste the thick layer of cream on top. It was a tiny pleasure, but one they waited for all week. And just like that, the weekend had begun. As the day brightened, the streets filled with a very different sound. Crowds of excited children streamed toward the local cinema. Saturday morning shows were so popular that lines wrapped around the building, small hands clutching a few coins, hearts racing with anticipation. Inside, the room buzzed with whispers, rustling wrappers, and bursts of laughter whenever a favorite character appeared on screen. There were no home screens, no rewinds. Every moment was experienced fully, shared with a room full of strangers who all reacted together. The excitement was real, and it belonged to everyone at once. Those who didn't go to the cinema found their own adventures outside. The streets turned into huge playgrounds, alive with chalk drawings on the pavement, marbles clattering across the ground, and skipping ropes whipping through the air. A simple piece of chalk could turn the sidewalk into a game board, and a tin can was enough to start a match that lasted for hours. Children invented rules as they went, and neighbors watched from their stoops, smiling at the lively chaos. The streets felt safe, familiar, and full of possibility. By midday, attention shifted to a different ritual: football on the radio. Living rooms across the country became miniature stadiums as families gathered around their wireless sets. Every update from the announcer made the room lean in just a little closer. Someone might scribble notes on a scrap of newspaper, hoping to guess the right outcome, but the thrill wasn't in winning. It was in listening together, experiencing the drama of the match through a single voice that carried the spirit of the game into every home. When families had the chance to get away, many headed to the famous holiday camps. Even the journey there felt like an adventure. The station crowds, the luggage, the sheer anticipation of days filled with music, games, and endless laughter. The camps were buzzing with energy, friendly hosts in bright jackets, talent shows, communal meals, and evenings that ended with everyone pleasantly worn out. Children made new friends instantly, and adults rediscovered their playful side. These were simple holidays, but they created memories that stayed forever. For those who stayed closer to home, the seaside was the perfect escape. Walking along the promenade in neat weekend clothes, ice cream in hand, felt like a tradition in itself. Seagulls cried overhead, the breeze carried the smell of salt, and amusement arcades spilled cheerful sounds onto the pavement. Donkey rides trotted along the sand, and the line for fish and chips curled past colourful storefronts. Even sudden rain didn't dampen the mood. Umbrellas popped open, coats were tightened, and families carried on as if nothing had changed. The seaside had its own kind of magic, rough around the edges but full of warmth. Weekend excitement also came from local fairs. In small towns and villages, music echoed through the streets as brass bands played. Children pulled parents toward games and stalls, and tables filled with homemade treats lined the sidewalks. People greeted each other by name, stopping to chat and laugh. It didn't feel like a crowd, it felt like a gathering of old friends. As evening fell, living rooms lit up with the soft glow of table lamps, and families tuned their radios to comedy shows, musical programs, and short dramatic performances. The voices coming through the speakers made it feel as if the entire country was sharing the same evening. Families sat close, reacted together, and talked about the stories long after the broadcast ended. Missing an episode meant waiting another whole week, which made each one feel even more special. As colder months settled in, weekends took on a different charm. Theatres hosted pantomimes that filled children with pure excitement. They shouted familiar lines, laughed at predictable jokes, and left the building buzzing with energy. Ice shows brought even more sparkle, fairy tales unfolding on the gleaming surface of the rink, costumes glittering under the lights. For many children, these performances were their first experience of live entertainment, and they carried the magic with them for years. When the weather turned mild again, families took to the countryside on bicycles, pedaling along quiet lanes with no hurry and no particular destination. No helmets, no gadgets, just the road, the wind, and the steady rhythm of conversation. Village greens came alive with friendly cricket games, where winning didn't matter nearly as much as being part of the moment. People sat on the grass with lemonade, chatting, laughing, enjoying each other's company. Then came Sunday, a day with its own gentle tempo. In the morning, the streets filled with neat uniforms and banners as families walked together. Later, homes filled with the comforting smell of roasted meat, vegetables, and fresh gravy. The Sunday meal gathered everyone around the table, creating space for long conversations and shared stories. And as the day wound down, the evening tea brought a final moment of calm. Sandwiches, pastries, polished china, and the quiet pleasure of simply being together. These weekends weren't built around expensive attractions or complicated plans. Their magic came from shared time, from neighbors who knew each other, from families who listened and laughed together, from moments that belonged to everyone. Maybe that's why memories of those days remain so vivid, like the soft clink of a milk bottle on a quiet Saturday morning, opening the door to a weekend that felt truly your own.